You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to The Spectral Zone with host Caz Rooney.
Good evening and welcome to the Spectral Zone on Parasearch Radio. I am Caz Rooney and tonight I am being joined by physical medium John Blackburn. Hello John.
Hi, good evening Caz. How are you? Are you okay?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Thanks for coming along. I wanted to speak to you because I was at your event at the weekend.
Oh yeah, did you enjoy it?
It was very good. At the Old Victorian School house.
Yeah, for good cause as well, isn't it?
It was for a very good cause. Do you want to tell everyone?
Yeah, basically, there's a lady called Sandra Eccleston. I won't go into the names and, on two particular guys who sort of caused a lot of trouble in the paranormal community. But basically what happened is Sandra Eccleston unfortunately died of cancer. A good friend, Karen Buckley, I had a chat with her a while ago, and what actually happened is that these two guys who duped a lot of people, they arranged an event, and it was to raise money for Sandra Eccleston Memorial Bench and Plaque, and lo and behold, they absconded all the money, and left them in a bit of a fix, really. I believe another paranormal group actually did that event for the Memorial Bench and Plaque. And what me and Maxine wanted to get involved. Maxine Jane Briggs is my manager, by the way. And what we wanted to get involved, and we wanted to sort of put it right, because it puts a bad taste in people's mouths, really, regards to things like that in the paranormal community. And for me, very, very much so. And there was a couple of things we wanted to do. We did an event which was at Sutton Manor, which is owned by an amazing guy called John. And John actually allowed us to have the location for free. So we raised, I think it was £153 for that. And that went to Sandra Eccleston's husband and his 6 kids, because what actually happened is that husband worked in Wales, and unfortunately he had to give up his job then to look after the kids full time. So it put him in a financial position. So this £153 helped him out before Christmas time. And as you can imagine, well, you know yourself, having kids, Caz, Christmas time can be expensive. They had this memorial bench to sort out. And it must have been a really, really sad time for them, really. So me and Maxine thought to ourselves, you know what, we will do another event and give them a bit more money to help them out. And the lovely Hazel Ford, she came up with flying colours and gave us this location called the Old Victorian School. And that's where we were last Saturday night. And we raised, to be truthful with you, I'm going to be perfectly open and honest. And I sent Karen an email about it.
Yeah.
And we didn't take any expenses. Well, we didn't take any money out of it except for our fuel money, because I had to take the fuel money, to be honest with you, because you
live quite a distance away.
I lived quite a distance away, and it would have costed quite a few pounds. But in the end, we gave Sandra Eccleston's husband and the kids another £200. So, all in all, it was £335, I think, or something like that. So it was really, really good. So that's why we're doing the event at the Old Victorian School.
Well, I mean, the night was a really special night. It was a really good night.
Mm-hmm.
But for more than obviously the investigation reasons, I mean, do you want to tell everyone what was greeting everyone as they turned up?
Oh, a Dalek.
Oh, a Dalek.
A Dalek. Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. A good friend of mine, Stephen Griffiths.
Yeah.
You might know the name Stephen Griffiths because he was working with Ian Lawman on a TV program which was on Living TV, called Living with the Dead, and it's a very successful TV program actually, because it goes all over the world. It has done. The show is quite old now, but it still gets repeated, and it gets repeated in foreign countries as well. And Steve always says to me, "You know what, Johnny said, it's really really strange watching yourself on another TV channel in another country speaking a foreign voice." You can imagine. So it'd be a bit weird, yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously not everybody was thrilled about the Dalek. I believe a couple of people ran away.
They did. Well, to be honest with you, Caz, I was being a bit of a devil, really, because people thought it was just like a stand-up model, and I says, "Oh, you just go and look at it," and they had no idea that Stephen Griffiths was actually driving the thing. So it was pretty good. It was a nice meet and greet, let's say.
You got to take your hats off to Stephen Griffiths. He was inside that thing for about an hour and a half.
Yeah. He's a good friend, Steve. Me and Steve have a close relationship. He's a great guy, and we're good friends. We've been for quite some time now.
Well, to talk about the investigation, obviously you brought along David.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah.
Now, the first part that I didn't actually go into it because I was too busy and talking to Maxine and another lady, but you'd taken everyone into the room with David.
Yeah.
Do you find that people were really quite surprised by that? How they reacted to him?
Yeah, they did. I think Hazel Ford was surprised as well, and I think it was. I think on the other side, if I remember rightly, it was on the other side. Let me think quickly. I think it was. I've forgotten. Anyway, there was another lady on the other side, and like I always do, I tell them just to put a very, very slight finger touch on the side of the painting. The painting's been actually. I designed the painting basically because when we did a karmic transmigration to move David from a spirit board to a painting that I painted, because David originally came from the Anguished Man. I get in trouble when I say this, Caz, so I've got to explain this. When I was working with the Anguished Man for 3.5 years, there was two entities attached to it. Okay, there was a negative entity, and there was a positive one. Yeah. And I always communicated with the positive one, which was David at the end of the day. And David always told me that by communicating with him, he was giving him the actual strength and the power to suppress the darker side of the painting, which Sean Robinson used to always experience. And to put so nobody gets the wrong idea, is that negative entity is very much still with the Anguished Man.
Yeah.
I don't know where David come from, but it was it's a long story really.
Yeah.
About that.
What I do remember when we did come into the room, I believe there was myself, there was Maxine, there was a lady called. Oh, what was that lady?
It was Jules on the other side of the painting, sorry.
Jules was on the other side of the painting, but when
Yeah.
we come in to the room, Maxine and I have stood at the back of the circle while
Yeah.
you were all working. Now, I do remember Hazel Ford said that she couldn't see out of one eye.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Which is interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it?
When you look at the painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of, well, how will I say it, rattling going on.
Yeah, he was rattling in response to my questions,
Yeah.
wasn't he? And
Yeah.
particularly on that day, which
Yeah.
was quite interesting, was the anniversary of Auschwitz.
Yeah.
And David always communicated with me and told me that, well, originally he told me that it came from Bergen-Belsen, but I was told by Sean, who had information, Sean Robinson, who owns the Englishman, who had information from a distant cousin, I think it was, who said that the artist actually spent time in Auschwitz, which, I said to Sean at the time, I said, Sean, I wasn't that far wrong because Bergen-Belsen was a detention camp for Auschwitz. So, although David was telling me Bergen-Belsen, it doesn't mean that he didn't go to Auschwitz as well. But now David does actually, obviously, you saw yourself what David did on that night. He responded very strongly when I said to David, I said, is it a significant date for you today, the anniversary of Auschwitz? And he shook quite strongly, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Maxine was, I believe someone was standing between me and Maxine, actually. Maxine was leaning over to me and saying, can you hear that rattling? And I'm going, yeah. And she's going, is that, she went, it's coming from the canvas. I went, yeah. And I went, that's what happened when I actually did my solo with David last October.
Yeah.
And when I said to you rattling, you went, we're coming to get you. And I thought, well, it's getting good now and you're pulling me out.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we should have left you there, shouldn't we?
You should have left me there. It was actually really interesting the way he does respond when you're asking him things.
Yeah, we're very, very close, me and David. It's been a very strange story, to be honest.
Yeah.
A very, very long one, like I said, which kind of resulted me when me and David a lot. I mean, I've done this interview quite a few times now. In regards to this, and to cut a long story short, really, when me and David were parted because the painting was taken back, it kind of had a drastic effect on me, and I went into like a grieving process.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, a year and a half later, David came looking for me. And he actually attached himself to a spirit board, and that's where we got in touch with Maxine and some other friends. And I wasn't there at the time. I was working at a place called the Manor House in London, and I went to bed, and they were playing on the Ouija board, and he spelled out his name, David, and he told them that he missed me and he wanted to work with me again. So when I came downstairs the next morning, nobody had told me this. Until I came down for breakfast, and they told me what gone on. And to be honest with you, I had to walk outside. I walked outside. I had to have a minute in the garden on my own to sort of take it all in, because being parted for all that time and then to be reunited again, and the strong bond we had anyway, it was just really upsetting, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, when we go back to Saturday night, obviously we've mentioned Stephen was there as well.
Yeah.
And you split us all up into two groups.
Yeah.
I believe one group went with Stephen into the room where the Dalek was.
Yes, that's right.
Now, I ended up that I was in the group that went with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we went in and we started working with energy. Now, that's the way you work, though, is purely with energy, isn't it?
Purely with energy, that's what it's all about for me, yeah.
And a few of them were quite surprised.
Mm-hmm.
A few of the people that were there. They seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But do you find when you got new people coming in, like they came in on Saturday night, they kind of throw themselves into it?
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
Maxine knows I always do it. Whenever I like working with new groups, I like working with new people, because I throw myself 125% in it. You know, it's over 100% that I put in, and that's because I want people to go home and say, "Wow, I enjoyed that." Yeah. You know, if people go home and they go away and say, "Well, it was all right," I wouldn't be happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, and so I do kind of make a beeline for new people, to be honest with
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember going out into the hallway when you took the group out into the hallway?
Yeah, was you there then?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. When it stood near the base room door.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were saying you had moved us down. You said you could feel the spirit of a man in the hallway.
Yeah.
And you moved down.
Yeah.
What happened then?
Basically, what happened? I think it was Sian. A lady called Sian. She was opposite me, and I think she was a bit spooked out actually, because I do a lot of transfiguration. Physical mediumship is obviously about the things I do, which is the movement of getting spirit to move the objects and stuff like that, which I work with, like the conduction rope and so forth. But a big part of it is transfiguration. So she was a bit surprised when I was stood in the energy of this man, and my face changed into somebody completely different. Obviously I can't see it myself, so I can't explain it to you. So Sian would probably explain to you better. But I don't know what did you not see the change or?
Yeah, what I saw was, I mean, obviously I know your height, your build.
Yeah.
In your face.
Mm-hmm.
You became smaller.
Is that possible?
You became smaller and your face changed.
Yeah.
You became...
Yeah.
But you looked sad.
Sad.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Kind of a bit bewildered, really. And I remember you did turn, this man who you transfigured into had turned around and says, "What are you doing here?"
Really?
Yeah.
No. Do you know a lot of the things? I am being truthful now. A lot of the things that I do say, I forget. I know I'm saying it at the time, but afterwards I forget it.
Well, the lady Sharon actually took your hand and was explaining why we were there, and asking if this man minded us being there.
Yeah.
But he just seemed completely bewildered by it.
And his face looked bewildered.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
As to why we were there and who we were, really.
Let me. Do you know when I do that type of transfiguration?
Yeah.
The thing that I never do is I'll only speak when I know it isn't me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then you open yourself up to all sorts of things, really. People saying, "Oh, he's a fraud," blah blah blah, and at the end of the day, I have a big thing, and I say it all the time. And when you cheat, you're only cheating yourself, and that's something I won't do. I won't cheat myself.
The thing is, it wasn't your voice.
Was it not?
This voice was much lower.
Right. Okay.
And a lot softer.
Okay. And that was pretty was it pretty clear to tell, was it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I do remember that he was that he was confused and lost, wasn't he?
Yeah. That's what I mean. He seemed completely bewildered.
Yeah.
Why we were there.
Yeah.
But when you come out of that, do you remember much about it, or is it a bit hazy?
I remember it, but then I soon forget it.
Okay.
I remember it whilst I come out of it, but then I kind of forget it and fade away. I don't know about to me it's just my normal voice tones, let's say,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what it sounded like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned as well using the conduction rope. We did do that as well.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, it is a large rope, and it has. Do you want to explain, John? You probably explain it better.
Basically, it goes. Everything I do really is things that I've done for years and years and years, and the conduction rope is probably that actual rope. There's a funny story about it actually.
Yeah.
Is that actual rope is about 15 years old, and it's like, you know, I could never replace it because I've worked with that for 15 years. Wow. Imagine all the energy in it, and do you know that? And the first 2 years it did nothing.
Okay.
It took me time to get it to do what it does. And it's basically a copper rope, and from it, in evenly spread apart, are quartz crystals. And obviously the whole thing is about energy at the end of the day. Quartz crystals are good focus for energy. So that's why I call it a conduction rope. And it's a different way of communication with spirit.
Well, to try and explain a little bit, because I was actually in it, our hands are all placed on this, making a continuous circle, and we build up energy. And you will ask spirit to help move the rope to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
So it ends up, it's kind of, we've to move it to John's hand, which is fine, and it did that. But then John moved out of the circle, and it was bringing the rope to me. So we ended up the other end of the room. And then you come back into circle, and then you move down the other end of the room and ask them to bring the rope down to you. So we all ended up going away down the other side of the room. But the one thing you did do, which I haven't seen you done before, was you said, take the rope to the floor.
Yeah.
Make the rope stay on the floor. And we're trying to pull it up, and we can't get this to pull up.
Right.
I find that quite interesting.
Was it? So when you were trying to pull it up, was it lock solid?
We could move it a couple of inches.
Yeah. But
then we couldn't get it any further up, and it was going back down again.
Right. Okay. So when with you see, I only work with it. I never hold it really, because you can't. It's like Maxine doesn't, because people say that you're making it up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how would you describe that it felt when you was holding the rope?
It feels like, even though you're holding it quite tight, you can't control where it's going to go.
Right.
And definitely when it was pulled down to the ground, we all ended up on the ground as well. When you're trying to move it up, it won't move up. We moved it a couple of inches because we're really pulling on it. Yeah. But it's like we can't control what's happening with the rope.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting way for spirit to work.
Do you find it pulsates? Because quite a few people have said in the past that you can feel it pulsating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that's partly to do with the crystals on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about sending the energy around the rope and then working with it. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like for me, what we do within, I've said this before, what we do within the paranormal, the way I see it is that it's the manipulation of energy at the end of the day, and that's what we do when you think about it. When we're working with energy all the time, we're manipulating spirit to do what we do.
Now, we mentioned earlier that Stephen Griffiths was there as well.
Yeah.
Now, you weren't privy to what was going on with the group, but when we changed over and I ended up with Stephen's group, we ended up doing a séance in the other room. Sean Cadman, who was there that evening, he came into the room as well, but he sat at a table way behind everybody else with his laptop, and he set up a microphone quite close so that it could pick up what we were saying.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. There was a lady, what was that lady? I can't even remember the lady's name. But Linda. Her name was Linda. I believe it was Linda was saying that there was a young girl in the room. But because we are in darkness, we can see each other around the table, and obviously all our hands are touching, and they're flat on the table. Stephen, it was quite interesting that we were getting taps, but it was from underneath the table.
Right.
And then it transpired it was this young girl. But every time there was a bang underneath the table, Stephen Griffiths would look at myself and Karen Evans, who was sitting next to me, and go, "Really?" I think he thought we were actually doing it.
Right.
But Sean Cadman said that the microphone was picking up voices and things when we weren't speaking.
So obviously Sean's recorded that.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But what's interesting is Sean was sat right next to the Dalek.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a tap on the Dalek, so we all kind of looked round.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean's looking at the Dalek. But it happens about another 3 times. And eventually Sean goes, "There's something up here, you know."
Do you know, before I met Stephen Griffiths, Ian Lawman used to always tell me, because me and Ian Lawman worked together for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And he used to always say to me that Steve's a brilliant investigator, and he's not wrong. He is. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what he does.
Yeah. But even if you ask Sean Cadman, I think like meant there was something in the room.
Mm.
But it was interesting because we went from working with you, and then we went into a séance.
Yeah, I mean, the aim that me and Steve had really was, I do what I do, Steve does what he does. We swap over the people, so they both have an experience with us both, and they have a different experience with us both, and it works, doesn't it? Because it makes the night interesting.
We've actually got a question in the chat room from Maxine.
Oh yeah, way up.
And Maxine says, "Where do you see yourself in a year's time?"
Where do I see myself in a year's time? Do you know what? I have got some big plans now. I was just before we went live, I was just having a chat to you and Kerry, and my mum died on the 28th of December, and it made me look at myself really, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I've got to be me now. I've got to be John Blackburn, the physical medium, not John Blackburn, Enigma paranormal events, or John Blackburn Mysteria paranormal events as it used to be many years ago. It's about me, and I want to achieve as much as I can. Okay. And I want to make my mum proud, to be honest with you. And I know it might sound a bit corny and stuff, but that's the way I felt about it. Yeah. And I as in physical mediumship, it's always fascinated me, and I want to improve as much as I can do for myself in physical mediumship. Okay. And I'm not going to be, I'm at the moment for a long time with the Anguish Man, and to do a degree with David now. I'm the man with the painting, but I don't want to be seen as a one-trick pony, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
So one of the things that I'm going into is, and it excites me as well, is that I am going more into ufology, and doing the events very different to what anybody else does. I always like to do things different than anybody else does. I mean, the thing is, with UFO events, I can only imagine, because I've never been before, but I can only imagine it's using equipment. Looking in the skies and looking for what you can see, and whatever. Whereas what I want to do is I want to give people an experience where I'm bringing physical mediumship into it.
Well, you're going to meet a very interesting man at Rendlesham. Yeah. Because he's very into ufology, and he's very much looking forward to this.
Excellent.
Yeah, Excellent. The two of you will on that house in fire.
Oh, that'd be good. And do you know, physical mediumship does work with UFO events. There was myself, Maxine, a very good friend called Bill Smith, and or somebody. Who else was it now? Michael. There's a guy called Michael who was there, and another young lady there, Michael Hubbard.
Yeah.
And I was doing physical mediumship there, and I always remember it's probably better coming from Maxine really, because she saw what went on. But I always remember we was holding hands. I was doing the physical mediumship. Maxine let go of my hand very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Maxine like that before. She was really, really scared. And I remember Michael Hubbard. Well, Maxine said this because I couldn't remember him saying this, but I remember Michael Hubbard saying, "I can't look, I can't look, I can't look." and basically, what happened is my face changed into an alien grey, if you like.
Wow.
So it can be done. Physical mediumship is very, 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 very powerful at the end of the day. And my plan going forward is to make it more so.
Do you ever get scared giving yourself over to spirit like that?
No, because really? I'm in control. You got to be in control. Maxine got a bit worried on Saturday night.
Yeah, we did. We all did.
Obviously, I can't see myself, so I can't tell you what you saw, but I had to come out of that slowly.
Yeah.
Because it was quite intense, and I had to come out of that slowly, so I had to take my time. You don't rush into it, things like that. You need to take your time to come out of it again.
Well, to explain what happened on Saturday night, then you have a copper table, which has the rope running from it and a copper ring.
Yeah.
Now, what you had done, just so everybody understands, you had put the canvas of David to the same level as your own face and sat in a chair.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, John had a hold of the ring and went into transfiguration. But the spirit that came through wasn't so good.
Okay. Can you describe him, Caz?
It was horrible. His face was kind of hard and pinched, but his eyes were black.
Okay.
But the thing was, Maxine had said to him, "I know who you are and you can back off." And she was trying to get him to go away, which wasn't happening. But he kind of looked from Maxine. When she had said that, it was almost as like he came closer to her.
Yeah.
And then he's backed off a little bit and he was looking around the circle. Now, I don't know if it's because my hand was on the copper table.
Yeah.
And the man next to me, Phil's hand was on the copper table, connecting this whole ring of people to you and to the canvas. And he looked right at me and it felt horrible.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. It's horrible. It felt evil. It didn't feel good at all. But I've never actually seen Maxine kind of panic. And in fairness, she didn't really panic, but she realised it wasn't good. She took the ring off you, threw it to one side, and she had a hold of your face trying to get you to come forward and him to go away. But it took quite a while for him to go away and you to come forward.
Yeah, it was, like I say, I had to sort of let it come back gradually, slowly, and control it and let him go away.
Doesn't that scare you though?
No, you got to push the boundaries. I'm going to push them more. Believe me, I've got things planned that'll make you stand up and watch.
Oh, crikey!
I've been chatting to. I've been pecking Maxine's head about it. I've got some plans. I'm not going to. I mean, if I told you, Caz, I would have to kill you. But
no, don't tell me then.
But we've got some interesting plans. Me and Maxine are a great team. We worked together for 3 years now. She, like I say, she's been manager, and she will help me to organise this. I know she will. And
Maxine says it was freaky.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. It was freaky.
What, on the night, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was it was weird. The reason why Maxine knew who it was is, to be honest, I'll be truthful with you.
Yeah.
Inside me, I didn't know it was him, but I get where Maxine's coming from, and it was the negative side.
Yeah.
Of the other painting, because he hasn't made an appearance before.
Being honest with you could feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel the negativity.
Yeah.
From him. And Maxine clearly knew who it was by what she had said. But it was not scary for us to watch. I mean, I wasn't spooked by him, but I didn't like him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think you're very brave doing that.
I don't know if I'm very brave, but it's got to be done. And, like I said, I've got to push the boundaries at the end of the day. The thing is, I think the question that Maxine said, what do I see myself doing in a year's time?
Yeah.
Is with, the physical mediumship is really a dying art. And if you type in Google, for instance, type in physical mediumship, none come up. You won't get any coming up.
Yeah.
It's all psychic medium this and whatever. But physical mediumship is quite rare these days. So for me, what I want to do, there was some great physical mediums in the past. I can't remember her name now, but there was one lady, and she used to do. God, what was her name? No, I can't remember. There was one lady in the 70s, I think it was.
Yeah.
And she used to do big shows, and what she did was the people who come to the shows, they'd bring photographs of their loved ones. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what she would do, she would transfigure into the face of their loved ones.
Wow.
And people would be gobsmacked because they'd look at the photograph of their loved one and compare it against what she was transfigured into, and it was unbelievable. So it's my goal is to keep physical mediumship going, and I want to push the boundaries as far as I can with it, and that's my goal going forward really.
Well, in fairness, you're the only physical medium I know.
Right. Yeah.
Which kind of says a lot, because it isn't something that a lot of mediums can do.
Do you know, the thing is that I think there's a lot of gifted mediums out there, and they're all gifted in their own way, aren't they? Really. I've always been a physical medium. It's just that I've not come out. Yeah. That sounds wrong. That I've not come out. Well, I've come out now. I'm coming out. So yeah. I've actually, I'm being myself now. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time. And do you know what, Caz? The thing is, and Maxine's quite right, to be honest with you. She has said this to me. That I've hidden behind things. I've hidden behind Enigma paranormal events. Yeah. I've hidden behind Mysteria paranormal events. Mm-hmm. And not being my true self. So now I'm being my true self. But going back to these stunts again. Well, not stunts. Yeah. Want a better word. I can't almost let the cat out of the bag then. Basically, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing.
No, don't.
But I'm planning on doing some really, really severe physical mediumship. Really? At some strange locations.
Really?
Yeah. That's it. That's just a teaser.
Well, I'll become the long man. So I've got to find out what that's about now. Do you feel freer now that you're saying that you're a physical medium?
Yes, I do. And you know what?
Good.
I've never been so motivated in my life.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's something that I need. I need to do it now. And not, do you know what as well? Not just for my sake, for David's sake as well. David means so much to me.
Yeah.
And I need to do it for him as well, because David's got a lot to tell yet, and we've got a lot to do with David yet. So yeah, going forward, the Pentamental experiment will always go on. I mean, that's going to be years and years and years. The UFO side of me, working as a physical medium, doing that's going to go on. And this other thing is going to happen as well at some point.
Well, I mean, obviously you're saying you're going to have this really busy year.
Mm.
Do you know how busy?
Not at the moment.
I do.
Not really. I don't know. I mean, we are pretty busy, but do you know the other thing as well? I've not only do I want to work for myself, I'd like to work for the people as well.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Okay.
Because again, you're experiencing different people again. You're working with different people and stuff. And for me, I like working with new people as well as working with the same people. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, I mean, as I've said, a lot of times I find working with people better than research.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, practical is better than theory.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's like when you go to college.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to college, say, for being a bricklayer.
Yeah.
Because I went to college as an electrician for about 3 years. Well, longer than that, actually.
Yeah.
And you learn more on site in a week than you do in a year at college. Do you know what I mean? You learn.
That is really true.
Yeah. So if you put what you said about you prefer to do hands-on rather than the theory side of it.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, because you learn more just getting stuck in and being hands-on.
Yeah, I believe you do. Talking about your year.
Yeah.
Now, obviously you are going to Rendlesham.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, I mean, if you're going forward and you're going to be concentrating mostly on your physical mediumship.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Hailsham House, you've got Cook's Corner, you've got Secunda Manor, you've got the Priest Manor as well.
Yeah.
That's just off the top of my head that you'll be doing this year. So you're going to be doing physical mediumship at all of those. Yeah. Wow.
In different forms. I'm not going to make. I'm going to make it different.
Yeah.
Not like the same all the time. The thing is that I don't like to do. I mean, I do it as being a medium, but the thing that I don't like to do all the time is I don't like to work with people and say I can see this in my head and I can see that in my head.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of mediums do, isn't it? But I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, unless you have really good evidence to back that up, and there's a lot of mediums out there who do. So I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. But what I'm saying is, for me anyway, I'd rather let people see and feel things.
I have actually been told off in the past.
Yeah.
I have had complaints from a couple of people about not having a medium when I go and do locations.
Okay.
But no offence to yourself or others.
Yeah.
But if I took a medium along, then I'm going to be following someone around who's telling me who's there, what they're saying.
Yeah.
Then I'm not really investigating the place, am I?
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
So that's why I don't do it. But I have had criticism for that.
No, do you know what? We all work differently at the end of the day. There's lots of psychic mediums out there who are brilliant. I'm not saying they're not. Um, But it's just the way I work. It's the way I feel about it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I prefer to show people things and let them feel things rather than me tell them things.
Well, looking overall at Saturday night,
Yeah.
how would you sum up how did that go?
The event itself.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed to go home and enjoyed it. We got some, you know what we got on our Facebook group, page group. We got lots of lovely comments, which was nice. And do you know when it's I think when it's a charity event as well, you try that a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because I think you just do because it's important. Do you know what I mean? I always try hard anyway, but with charity events, you think, I've got to give a little bit more. Although you give in as much as you can, you just try to give a little bit more because it's important at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, I thought it was a fantastic night. I thought people, especially people who haven't come to one of your events before, they really got stuck into it.
Yeah,
they really did. They really enjoyed it, and they really got stuck into it.
Yeah, I'm pleased that everybody went home happy, and that's the main aim at the end of the day.
How do you feel at the end of it? Do you feel completely drained?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But on saying that, I think it's the length of the driving as well that I do, because on that night, I probably drove about 5.5 hours before I did the event.
Wow.
And 5.5 hours after I did the event.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of
driving, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think probably a lot of being exhausted is because of the driving, to be honest.
Okay. So you've raised a fair bit of money for Sandra Eccleston's fund.
Yeah.
You obviously feel good about that. That was a really nice thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It did have to be done. I mean, it was a horrible situation.
Yeah.
But in fairness to you, Maxine, you did step up and just throw yourselves into that. Which not a lot of people will do. Being fair, not a lot of people do that. If something goes wrong, they don't just throw themselves into it. But you did.
Yeah. So, sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
One thing we was conscious of really is that we did the 2 events on behalf of the paranormal community. It wasn't just about me and Maxine.
Yeah.
But we did it, but we wanted to say it was on behalf of the paranormal community.
Yeah. Well, Saturday night to me, from the way I left it, surprisingly we left there really late. I think it was well after 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was indeed, yeah.
Surprisingly, I wasn't tired.
All right, okay.
Don't know why, but I wasn't tired.
Yeah.
Probably from all the energy flying about. But
yeah.
I wasn't tired, and it seemed to be a really full night.
Yeah.
It was a very full night. It was a very eventful night. That is the first time I've ever been to the Old Victorian Schoolhouse.
It's a good place, isn't it?
It is a good place. And considering the age of it, I believe we were told it was built 1856?
I don't know, to be honest.
I think it was 1856.
Right.
And it's actually a really immaculate building. It's been kept up really, really well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing place.
Because you know what some places are like. You go in and they can be quite run down.
Yeah.
The older places. But it was a really nice building. It was a really good night. Do you think you'll ever go back there again?
Well, never say never, yeah. Because I believe it's exclusive, isn't it, to Hazel and Haunted Happening. So yeah. I mean, if it's higher, yeah, maybe we will do it again. I don't know if it's for hire or not, to be honest with you.
I believe that lady says it is.
Oh right, okay.
Apparently it is. I think.
I probably will do, to be honest. There was something else I wanted to mention as well, actually.
Yeah,
with regards to the two con men who we were on about before.
Yeah.
I tried to avoid that, really. But anyway.
Yeah.
We also rescued St Bevel's Castle as well, because what actually happened, there was 33 people booked on to go to St Bevel's.
Yeah.
In December the 7th to the 9th of December.
Yeah.
And a few of them lost money. Some of them managed to get some back from PayPal.
Yeah.
They were all gutted because the event wasn't going ahead. And me and Maxine had a word, and we thought, you know what, this event is going to go ahead.
Yeah.
So we got in touch with a lovely lady called Linda, the manager at St Bevel's Castle.
Yeah.
Now, these two scoundrels have paid something like 180 odd quid or something like that as a part deposit.
Yeah.
So she said, well, you can have their deposit. I said, well, thank you very much. So so what we're doing is everybody on that event are going for the price that it just costs to book the castle itself. There's no expenses on it. There's no profit on it. And they're all paying £66 a person for a full weekend. And that includes a medieval banquet as well.
Yeah.
And do you know what, Caz? They're going to have the best weekend ever, because I'm going to make sure of it.
I'm coming to that one.
You are indeed. You're helping me out.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. What's going to happen, for those who are listening who are at St Bevel's, who are going on that event, we meet and greet on the Friday. Yeah. We get them all settled in. We take them to the rooms that they're going to be sleeping, and all of them are all themed rooms. I know an awful lot about St Bevel's because I used to do events there myself.
Yeah.
And we've renamed it St Bevel's Castle, the Banquet of Souls.
Yeah.
Basically, each room is all original rooms. Like there's a prison, the hangman's room, there's the oubliette, and all the guests sleep in these rooms. So it's going to be an amazing place, amazing time for them.
I'm actually remembering a conversation about this with the people who were going, and you were talking about the oubliette, and you were saying we need to send someone to sleep in there, and somebody said, send Caz. And like an idiot, me not paying attention, I went, I'll do it. And somebody else went, right, Caz is going in the oubliette.
Hey, good luck.
Thanks.
I know quite a lot about St Bevel's, so what I'm doing is, I'm doing a ghost tour for them.
Yeah.
Which will be on the Saturday, I think. Yeah. Maybe on the Friday. On the Friday, sorry, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're gonna do like a paranormal investigation on the Friday night after they're all stuffed after the banquet. Yeah. That's why I'm going to do a ghost tour, so we just get them moving a bit and let them settle down the food a bit. Yeah. Then we'll do the paranormal investigation on the Saturday. They have a bit of free time. Yeah. They wake up for breakfast, have a bit of free time, and then they're going to do a very intense development workshop on the Saturday afternoon. And this is the reason for this is to get when you do development workshops with paranormal investigations, it gets the energy going, and that's what it's all about. So we'll do the development workshop, and then on the Saturday night we're going to do an amazing paranormal investigation too, and we are going to work our socks off, aren't we, Caz? Because we're going to make it best weekend
they've ever had. I need to ask you something about St Bevel's, actually.
Yeah.
I have it on very good authority that you're going to be wearing a jester's costume.
Oh no! Oh no! That's going to be Maxine Jane Briggs who's going to wear that. No, I'm just going to be me.
Yeah, just make sure you check her bags in case she's got a jester's costume.
Oh yeah.
Costume be chasing you with.
I should. That should be funny, shouldn't it?
Oh, crikey,
sorry.
can you imagine?
It should be good. So yeah, Sim Rebels, here we come.
Well, I mean, obviously, as we've said, you've got quite a full packed year coming up. You've got quite a lot of events coming up. So anybody that's listening, if you want to find out about any events and availability, please go to the Facebook page, which is John Blackburn Physical Medium. And they can find everything on there, can't they, John?
Certainly can.
Yep. You can get all the details on there, but you need to follow this and you need to follow the whole story of what John is doing, because it is quite a specialist gift. And it is something that you don't see a lot of. So it is something you do really need to follow, and you need to... We'll want to see where this is going to go, really, John.
I'm waiting for a physical medium starter pack. That's going to be on sale at Aldi very, very soon. Yeah.
But in fairness, it is a very select gift that you do have, because you don't get a lot of physical mediums. And speaking for myself, going along to a couple of your events, it isn't something you forget quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that kind of stays with you. So to anybody who is even remotely interested, please go along to John Blackburn Physical Medium on Facebook and look at the events and come along, because it will be a great night. You won't actually forget it, and you will leave very happy. That's fair to say, isn't it, John?
Well, that's very kind words. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, it is fair to say, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody leave grumpy or early.
That's all right. I only saw Maxine leave grumpy once when she banged her toe on the way out.
Oh, I was going to say, was it because she didn't have any biscuits?
Oh, yeah, probably. A lack of jammy dodgers.
Yeah, see, she wouldn't be happy if there was no biscuits.
Yeah.
But, John, thank you so much for Saturday. I had a fantastic time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
everybody had a fantastic time. It's really refreshing to see you coming out and saying you're a physical medium and doing that, rather than just saying you're doing events. So this year, we're just going to follow and see what happens.
Yeah, it should be an interesting journey, I should imagine. But I know one thing is that, I am going to stick my neck out.
See, that just makes me really curious.
Yeah. Well, you have to wait and see.
What's he going to do?
Just watch this space. It should be interesting. We are trying to arrange it now. We are trying to arrange the locations and what we're going to do. But it's all in Maxine's capable hands. So
Maxine is plotting away in the background and sorting out locations. So there's going to be more locations coming up.
You're trying to get things out of me, Caz, aren't you? There is.
You don't need to tell me locations. You just need to agree with me. There's going to be more.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool. That's cool. Right. So everybody, please go along, as I said, to the Facebook page, John Blackburn Physical Medium. You can catch all the events on there. You can find out what John's doing and how things are progressing. John, I really need to thank you for coming along and chatting with me tonight.
Been lovely chatting to you, Carrie. Carrie? Caz, thank you very much.
But please make sure you follow John, and as always, anybody can follow Parasearch Radio. You can follow us on Twitter, you can follow us, of course, on the Facebook page, you can follow us on YouTube. And you can catch up with shows that have gone before that maybe you haven't heard. But again, John, thank you, and all it leaves me to say really is good night to everyone. You want to say good night, everybody, John?
Good night and God bless. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.